we've got a full kettle. The internet is buzzing with whispers, side eyes, and sudden unfollows, and at the center of it all, Angela Simmons, Yo Gotti, and the unexpected glow-up of GloRilla. But here's the kicker. This drama kicked off without GloRilla saying a single word. One look, one appearance, and boom, social media caught fire like it had been waiting to combust. People didn't even need context. The moment she popped up, timelines lit up, and suddenly, all those lucky rumors about Yo Gotti playing Stepdad of the Year turned into a viral wildfire. But trust me, this story isn't just about family ties or internet rumors. It's a layered saga of love, silence, power moves, and perfectly timed entrances. At first glance, everything seemed like a regular chapter in Celeb Life 101. Angela Simmons and Yo Gotti were a couple dripping in luxury and chemistry. They were that soft life, hard hustle couple, designer bags in one hand, business deals in the other, vacation selfies in private jets, and oceanside infinity pools. From the outside, they looked like they were living the dream, and fans were eating it up. Every red carpet walk, every luxury date night, every carefully curated Instagram post became part of a narrative. Relationship goals, manifestation works, Gotti really got the girl. And to be fair, it did look like a full circle moment. Yo Gotti had been vocal in his admiration of Angela for years, even putting it in his music. And now, there they were, posing for the gram like the king and queen of hip-hop soft love. But then, things got quiet. And I don't mean taking a break quiet. I mean airy, tumbleweed-style silence. Angela, who had been the centerpiece of this glittering love story, suddenly disappeared from the timeline. No cryptic captions. No sad girl anthems in the background of her stories. No half hints or poetic quotes for the fans to dissect. Just a full social media vanish. One day she was front and center. The next, she was ghost. It was the kind of silence that screamed louder than any messy post could. That's when fans started to realize something wasn't just off. Something had ended. What made this all so wild wasn't just the breakup itself, but how completely Angela removed herself from the narrative. In an era where celebs often use heartbreak as a branding opportunity, Angela did the opposite. She didn't write a long emotional caption about growth or healing. She didn't post a tearful video. She didn't even drop one of those moody, black and white photos with lyrics that leave fans decoding for days. No, she simply unfollowed Yo Gotti. One clean move. One digital click. And it was like the curtain closed on an entire storyline. Now, here's where things got interesting. Fans weren't just speculating about the breakup, they were trying to piece together the why. Because let's be real, this wasn't just about love fading. This looked like a power shift. Rumors started swirling that Angela had grown tired of playing second to Gotti's non-stop grind. Between the studios, the business ventures, and the appearances, Gotti's schedule had become so stacked that Angela started to feel like she was just another appointment, not a priority. And if there's one thing we know, it's this: when a woman stops feeling like she matters in the relationship, she doesn't always cry. Sometimes she just moves. What makes this even more poetic? Let's not forget how this all started. Yo Gotti manifested Angela Simmons like a full-time job. He wasn't quiet about it. He wasn't subtle. His music was basically one long love letter to her, verse after verse. The man was shooting his shot in public, turning every lyric into a serenade. When they finally got together, it felt like the final scene in a rom-com. Private jets, front row seats, custom outfits, gourmet everything. He gave full show-off-your-girl energy, and fans were loving every minute. Angela wasn't just along for the ride, she was the ride. She was getting the treatment, the respect, the spotlight. For a while, it looked like this was the real deal. But even the best fairy tales can take a turn, and this one did. Slowly but surely, the energy shifted. No more reposts. No more heart-eyed emojis. No more of those slow-motion couple reels that make fans feel like they're watching a Netflix trailer. Just digital silence, and the silence was loud. Angela didn't yell. She didn't cry online. She simply removed herself. And in doing so, she said everything. And here's where her story hits even deeper. Beyond the glitz and breakups, Angela has lived through real pain, loss, grief, and the weight of single motherhood. She's talked about the passing of her son's father and how the experience shook her to the core. Even after their romantic relationship had ended, she never imagined navigating parenthood alone. That kind of grief, it's life-altering. Angela turned to therapy just 2 days after it happened, because even she didn't know how to process it. The pain, the shock, it was all too real. She named her son after his father, and suddenly she was faced with the reality of parenting without him. But she leaned into her family, she leaned into healing, and she kept showing up, not just for the cameras, but for herself. Angela's strength wasn't just in her beauty or her brand, it was in her quiet resilience. So when she chose silence over spectacle after her breakup with Gotti, that wasn't just a social media move. That was a woman who had been through real life making a power play. She didn't need to throw shade or post receipts. She just unfollowed and moved like a queen, silent, poised, intentional. But just as the internet started to accept Angela's quiet exit, another name began trending, GloRilla. And the timing? Woo! It was too perfect not to notice. Out of nowhere, Glo was glowing. New glam, flawless lace fronts, upgraded drip, and an energy shift that didn't need captions. Fans were like, wait, is this the new chapter? Let's be clear, GloRilla and Yo Gotti go way back. This wasn't just a random cosign. From the beginning, their dynamic had a different kind of spark. Gotti wasn't just signing talent, he was creating experiences. Glo didn't just sign a contract, she entered a lifestyle. We're talking luxury treatment, CMG fantasy, headline moments, private jets, red carpets, flashing cameras, and Gotti was right there, making sure the world saw it. Suddenly, fans couldn't help but ask, is this more than music? The way Gotti started flaunting GloRilla online gave people flashbacks. The same rollout, the same jet life, the same look who I'm with vibe. It wasn't just about business, it looked personal. And while Angela was giving soft silence, Glo was giving loud dissension. Then came the post. That one glam shot that didn't just go viral, it cracked the algorithm. GloRilla didn't have to write a long caption. She didn't have to say a thing. She just existed with the kind of glow-up that made timelines double take. And just like that, the narrative shifted. The timeline was no longer about what went wrong. It became about who was stepping into the spotlight. Somehow, here we are. Angela gone silent. Gotti on the move, GloRilla rising, and fans, we're watching every single frame like it's the final season of a show we've been invested in since episode 1. The internet is buzzing, timelines are divided, and everyone's asking the same thing. Was this a breakup or a handoff? Whether this was calculated or coincidental, one thing is clear, Angela Simmons didn't just step away. She elevated. GloRilla didn't just show up, she arrived, and Yo Gotti. He might be the common denominator, but the women in this story are the ones holding the power. This isn't just celebrity gossip. This is the kind of story that shows us how power, timing, and silence can say more than any headline. Angela showed that walking away quietly can make the loudest statement. GloRilla showed that presence can be louder than words, and the rest of us? We're just trying to keep up. However, this wasn't just a breakup. This wasn't even a fade-out. This was a full-on storyline deleted mid-season. Angela, who once commanded the red carpet with poise and glam, didn't post a cryptic caption. She didn't drop a moody quote. She didn't even serve a Taylor Swift-coded heartbreak reel. She went radio silent. Like someone hit select all and backspaced the entire relationship from the timeline. One moment she was killing every look, every event, every angle. Next moment, nothing. Not a trace. It left fans and followers in the dark, confused and scrolling, wondering if they'd missed an episode. And just like that, as the digital dust settled, in comes GloRilla. She strutted into the scene like the opening act of a highly anticipated finale. And the timing? Suspiciously perfect. The glam, the lace, the face, it wasn't just giving I'm here. It was giving I've arrived. And she didn't need a press release. She didn't need a shady subtweet. She let her presence and that surgically precise rollout speak volumes. She hopped on Live like it was just another Sunday, while the internet buzzed, speculated, and spiraled. People were shook. Some didn't even recognize her at first. But one toss of the hair, one slow smile, and the energy. It screamed confidence. She didn't need to say she was that girl, she embodied it. But let's hit rewind for a second. Before the glitz, before the mystery, there was Yo Gotti and Angela Simmons. Remember when Gotti was publicly declaring his love like a rapper turned poet? When he was writing entire verses dedicated to Angela? That man was laying it on thick. From private jets and gourmet dinners to coordinated fits on every red carpet, they were the definition of a flexed-out love story. Fans bought into the fantasy. Power couple goals. But beneath the Instagram filters and curated moments, things were shifting. Word on the street, Angela felt like she was giving more than she was getting. That despite the love songs and grand gestures, the consistency started to fade. Yo Gotti's life didn't slow down. He had studios to hit, business deals to close, appearances to make. Angela, holding it down and showing up, began to feel like an accessory instead of a priority. And when a woman no longer feels seen, valued, or chosen, she doesn't wait for the credits to roll. She leaves. Her exit wasn't loud. It was surgical. She unfollowed. She cleared the couple content. No farewell post. No passive-aggressive playlist. Just a clean slate, and that silence, it hit louder than any breakup ballad ever could. Because when someone leaves quietly, it means they've already said everything they needed to say, just not out loud. But there's a deeper layer to this story. Angela's been navigating more than just heartbreak. She's a single mom, and not just any single mom, one who faced the unimaginable. The loss of her child's father was a wound no one saw coming. Despite their separation, it was still a devastating blow. Angela opened up, revealing that she sought therapy just days after it happened. She didn't know how to process it, how to breathe through it, how to keep standing, but she did. Her son's name carries his father's legacy, and the support she received from both families became her anchor. In her words, she never imagined this would be her story. She envisioned the picture-perfect life, the two-parent household, the fairy tale. But life, in its ruthless unpredictability, had other plans. And through all of this, she leaned into grace. Not once did she spiral publicly. She didn't weaponize her pain for likes or engagement. She healed in peace, surrounded by family, grounded in faith. And when the relationship with Yo Gotti hit its expiration date, she didn't go loud. She let her actions speak. She reclaimed her peace. She stepped into her "I know I'm the prize" era. Meanwhile, GloRilla's rise was anything but subtle. She stormed into the spotlight like a woman on a mission. This wasn't just another artist pushed from CMG. This was a coronation, and Gotti, he was right there, front row, making sure the crown stayed polished. The red carpets, the jet rides, the soft glam, Glo's brand was being elevated with purpose. People noticed. Quickly, the whispers turned into threads. Fans started piecing it all together. The sudden focus, the extra attention, the way Gotti was always present, always hyping her, always amplifying her moments. And here's where it gets spicy. This didn't feel like a clean handoff. This felt personal. Like Gotti wasn't just moving on professionally, he was flipping the narrative entirely. One woman exits quietly, and another is suddenly center stage. It was too smooth, too slick. Glo wasn't just introduced, she was positioned. And the fans? They clocked the strategy. They called it the Gotti Glow Up, a full rebrand. Angela faded into the shadows. Glo stepped into the spotlight. What makes it so wild is how calculated it all feels. GloRilla didn't do too much. She didn't brag. She didn't hint. She just showed up looking like a bag of money dipped in designer confidence. Her live wasn't just a casual check-in, it was a rollout disguised as a vibe. And it worked. The internet was in chaos. Some said she looked unrecognizable. Others called it her era. Everyone had a take. But GloRilla? Unbothered. She didn't flinch. She knew exactly what she was doing. Angela's exit, in contrast, was a masterclass in quiet power. No public tears. No expose. She didn't have to broadcast her worth. She simply moved like someone who knew it. And that silence, that's what hit the hardest. Because silence leaves room for speculation, and in this digital age, speculation is the storm. Now, fans are doing what they do best, connecting dots, building timelines, dissecting interviews, and decoding lyrics. They're wondering if Gotti's attention was shifting before Angela stepped away. If Glo had already been in the wings, waiting for her moment. And if Angela saw the writing on the wall before the public even knew the chalk was out. There's a reason this feels like a trap glam soap opera. Because it's layered. There's heartbreak, there's loss, there's healing, there's ascension. There's loyalty and betrayal, silence and spectacle, peace and pettiness, all wrapped in designer drip. And at the center of it all, three people whose timelines collided and diverged right in front of our eyes. So what do you think? Was GloRilla's rise just perfect timing? Did Angela Simmons master the art of the silent exit? Is Yo Gotti moving on or just moving differently? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. because this story, it's still unfolding. And remember, hit that like, subscribe, and tap the bell, because at Star Hush, the drama never cools off in the tea. It's always too hot to sip slow.